All right. Next up is adoption of the agenda. Does anyone on the board want to make any adjustments to the tax agency agenda? I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as is.
So moved.
Alessio and Narvaez. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right. Let's have public comment. Anyone in the audience wanting to comment on anything related to the tax agency but not on the agenda? Anyone out on Zoom that wants to do the same? All right, then there won't be any public comment today. Chairperson or board member updates? Anything from us? Anything from the executive director yet? All right, then we're on to item 8.1, a project overview from the City of Napa on Measure U projects. Mike Ryan is here.
Get you in, get you out real quick.
Well, we may have interesting questions and comments, so it could be long. You never know.
My best.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, board members. Thank you so much for having us today. I'm Jessica Lowe, the Public Works Director for the City of Napa, and I am joined by Mike Ryan, who manages our CIP program and our Measure T and Measure U projects. So for those of you who live or travel through Napa, you know we've been working very hard on our streets, and we're happy to be here today to highlight some of that work funded with Measure T and Measure U. So Mike will go over those projects, and then we're both here to answer any of those questions you might have.
Thank you, Jessica, and thank you for having us. So I'll go ahead and get started. Go to the next slide, please. We look at an overview of how we've been using the funding. As you can see, very heavily focused on roadway maintenance, roadway improvements, and enhancements throughout the city. Go on, next slide, please. These are just some recent examples of street repair type projects we've done throughout the city. And there's South Jefferson, East Imola, and West Lincoln were showed there. And now going, no problem. Yeah, so 3 sites there at South Jefferson, East Imola, and West Lincoln. Many others are being worked on as well, and I'll get into the whole city paving plan later as well. But moving on to the next slide, I'm going to highlight some of the projects that have been completed this year, starting off with Coombs Street, which was from Imola to 5th Street. Where the city implemented traffic calming, bike improvements, bike lanes, sidewalk repairs, transit upgrades, and just general overall striping improvements. And we also installed some rapid flashing beacons at key crosswalks in the area. Moving on to the next project is at Browns Valley Road. From Freeway to McCormick. This project was about 1.4 miles. It's on the city's high entry network and included city sidewalk gap closures, driveway, curb repairs, gutter repairs, additional pedestrian improvements, and the city's first Class 4 bike lane, and then obviously the pavement resurfacing and striping as well. In the same general area, we had a Laurel Street project begin from 1st Street to Griggs. A lot of similar scope and including the pedestrian improvements, bicycle facilities, resurfacing, and sidewalk gap closures. Both of those projects, the Browns Valley and Laurel Street, were both impacted by an emergency utility project in the area. And so portions of the scope were delayed. And we just awarded a contract last month and we'll be getting started soon to finish off those projects. And that includes on Browns Valley, another pedestrian improvement with the crossing at Robinson and Browns Valley intersection. And we'll be doing the paving and striping aspects of the Laurel Street project. All of the concrete work had been completed prior to the emergency stabilization project for the utility department. Moving on to stormwater repairs. The city's continued to use the funds to address stormwater issues. As you see, we have over 65 miles of underground pipes in the city. The city contracted for CCTV inspections, and then created a program to prioritize and go in and repair those, with the first phase being cured in place pipe replacement, which is basically lining the existing pipe with a liner and replacing them. So you can see some great before and after pictures there. Moving on to the city paving program, as I mentioned before. So we have our in-house operations crew is busy all summer, spring, summer, and early fall paving around the city. You can see some of the areas and how we go about focusing this year primarily on the heaviest traveled streets as opposed to neighborhood or local streets. There's a few there. And if you go to the next slide, you'll see the whole list of the FY or the 2026 paving program. The ones in italics have been completed to date. The others are still on the agenda to be completed the remainder of the year. While the city is doing the paving program, we are also implementing our bicycle and pedestrian plan as possible and adding curb gutters, accessibility curb gutters where they are missing. Moving on to the more specific projects now that are coming up, we have the Solano Avenue, Orchard Avenue project, which is under construction. This is a joint project with Napa County, and it's moving along right now. And moving on to the next project is another joint project between the Napa Sand District, Napa County, and the city in the Pueblo area, where we're addressing there's sewer improvements, water line improvements, minor concrete repairs, and paving. The city's portion is primarily focused on the paving efforts for the city-owned portion in that general vicinity. Moving on again, back kind of to the Laurel Browns Valley areas, we have the Westwood Interior Streets projects. This is a major undertaking where we're adding sidewalks to every side or to every street on at least one side. We're fixing sidewalk gaps, adding curb ramps, improving pedestrian safety, such as at Kilbourne and Bryan, where we're adding traffic calming by narrowing the road and shortening the pedestrian crossing path. We're also doing some storm drain, curb and gutter, and obviously we'll finish off with pavement rehabilitation. Moving on to another big one that will be getting started here very soon is the Lincoln Avenue project. So this is another pretty significant effort by the city to address safety issues by reducing the lanes from 4 to 3, adding a shared center turn lane, improving bicycle facilities, enhancing pedestrian crossings, enhancing 2 transit stop stations, optimizing signals to reduce delay. And that will be going from California to Jordan Lane. And again, we expect the contractor to begin with some of the underground work and potholing here in the next week or two. Moving on to projects we currently have in design. As you can see here, we have a list of them, including the 5-way, Coombsville Road, Riverside and Montgomery neighborhoods, additional Pueblo area project for a phase 2. Laurel Street, this is a second, if you're familiar with Laurel Street, kind of an L-shaped. This would be the east-west section going from Griggs to Freeway, and then continuing with our street preventative maintenance program. We also have, that would conclude the presentation, I apologize. And just as a reminder for anything you see around the city, we always can go to our service center and submit, and we use that information to help either address things as necessary or build into projects in the future. So that concludes my presentation, and happy to take any questions.
Thank you for that presentation. Does the board have any comments? Director Alessio.
Well, it's really impressive, all the work that's being done in the city of Napa. As a former city council person, I'm really excited for the city and the investments and the time. I know some of this is Measure G funds in addition to Measure U funds. What is the investment on both of those measures that you've been investing in the last fiscal year, the 25-26 year? Do you happen to know?
Okay. Are you asking total investment for Measure G and Measure U and T
Yes.
combined?
Yes, just because it's been transformative. I mean, there's been a lot of work done.
Yeah. Over the last 2 fiscal years for Measure G, we have, over $11 million going on streets. Measure T, we program every dollar that we get. A lot of the projects that we have been doing have been, transformative projects, and they
Yeah.
take years to deliver. And so we're not seeing every dollar coming in necessarily going out, but it's a total number. I don't have the combined number, but it's in the tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah, it's really making a big difference. The other is I'm really excited to see the green striping happening for especially those bike lanes, pedestrian potential conflict areas. That was something that we talked about, and it's great to see that being implemented. So I want to congratulate the city on that too. The collaboration projects in the West Pueblo area and Solano. So you're going from Orchard to Solano. County of Napa is going to, I mean, Orchard to Luke on Solano Avenue, and Napa County's about to start the Luke all the way to on Solano Avenue, all the way to the very end where it meets California Boulevard in Yountville. So seeing those collaborative projects between city and county, putting those funds together and timing wise, I think it's just really best practice. So that's it, really. Just want to thank you. And the rapid lights, those are really, really important to see a lot of those popping up for pedestrian safety too. There's one thing I would always want to, I'm going to pitch and maybe some future opportunity. I've mentioned this in past years, but I see people trying to get going on Linda Vista to Las Flores Community Center, and there was a very serious injury accident, pedestrian accident that happened years ago, and I'm near there, so I see a lot of potential conflicts as people are crossing the street, trying to be careful with people driving down that street kind of quick. So just a consideration for future, some kind of rapid crosswalk or crossing for safe passage for pedestrians across Linda Vista to Las Flores. But compliments to everybody in the department. Thank you for your great work and the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Just make
Oh.
a quick comment.
Okay.
I want to thank Jessica and Mike for the presentation and highlighting all the work that's been done around the city and ongoing. And Jessica's relatively new in her position of Public Works Director. And, talk about getting thrown right into the fire. I mean, with all this work going on, and it's amazing what we're able to accomplish. And then we have the Harvest Middle School project that's coming up that's going to be huge. And so our Parks and Rec department is heading up that. And so that's going to be quite a change for the community, change for the better. So thank you for everything you do.
Director Narvaez.
Well, thank you for that information. We recently received that at council meeting, and even since then, I keep receiving positive feedback from residents. All the work that's being done, it's very visual, it's very, it's tangible. You can, it's amazing how happy people feel when they drive in a freshly paved road. And I'm really happy that that's well received by the community and the work that you're doing. There's a lot more work to be done, as Mayor said. Jefferson's going to be exciting. We just received a notice for that one. And, these are very highly traveled roads. And people, when they see that results from the work and the additional tax that we ask them to pay, and they see that product, it increases the trust in local government, right? The credibility. So well done. Keep up the great work. I look forward to the additional work, and Harvest is going to be a big one too. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board? Any comments from the public? Either in person or online?
We do have one online.
Oh, excellent. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. I'm upside down or sideways. This is Michael Baldini. I'm board chair of the CAC. And I took a left turn. This is to Mike. I took a left turn from Congress Valley to westbound Browns Valley. And I noticed the island there had been struck a few times, pavement beautifully done, but perhaps some striping for the turn to stay in your lane and miss that island. It's been struck, looks like 3 or 4 times as being a brand new impediment to most folks that are new to that area. Just a note. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Okay, any other comments? All right. When hearing none, we appreciate the presentation, and we are now able to move on to our consent calendar. We have 3 items. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I make a motion.
Narvaez. And Sedgley. Napa City comes through. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right. We have no regular agenda items. Are there any future agenda items that anyone on the board would like to bring up relating to the tax agency? Seeing none, I will adjourn at 1:17. And do that. All right, that sets us to moving into the Napa Valley Transportation Authority Board of Directors meeting. I'm going to call that to order at 1:17. Do we need to do the roll call or pledge over again? I think
We have confirmed the Pledge of Allegiance at the preceding meeting along
That's
with
true.
our quorum. We have in attendance our PCC representative, Director Devereaux Smith, and there are 2 confirmed absences today from Directors Donald Williams and Eric Knight. Thank you.
Thank you. Adoption of the agenda. Anyone want to make any changes to the agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda as proposed.
Alessio?
Alessio and Washington. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Public comment now relating to the Napa Valley Transportation Authority. Anyone in the audience? Anyone online? Okay, no public comment. Chairperson's report. I'm going to do something later on in the agenda, so I'll make my remarks later. Any board member comments? Any MTC comments? All right.
Okay, there's a few things here. At the May Commission meeting, the 2026 Bike Champions of the Year were honored. And for Napa, we had Charles, nicknamed Mickey Wagner, honored. He's 17 years old and he is helping his friends and neighbors with bike repair, bike mechanics, and teaching people and helping them fix their bikes up in St. Helena and at the farmers market up there. So wonderful bike advocate in our community. Then I'm noting 2 integrated ecological enhancements to the San Pablo Baylands that are part of the state Route 37 Sears Point to Mare Island Improvement Project received funding from the US EPA. I'm pleased to see the US EPA funding the kinds of things it's supposed to fund. And these are the first environmental funds for this project, which of course has huge cost overruns. So having the environmental end of it paid for through environmental entities is really helpful. So this is 13.9 million over 2 years for Strip Marsh East restoration and sediment removal, and 9.6 million for Tole Creek sediment excavation and reuse. The Tole Creek project also received its San Francisco Bay Conservation and Development permit. So getting through BCDC is a hurdle for Bayside projects, and that's one less thing left to do. And that moves the project, green lights it for construction, which is very good news. And then MTC is gearing up for a second round of Safe Routes to Transit and Bay Trail program call for projects. The commission will take an action on the call later this month. That's next week, I believe. There's a $75 million available pot of funding in this round for active transportation and Bay Trail implementation projects. Priority projects are those that serve equity priority communities, advance complete streets, improve real and perceived safety concerns, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Project nominations are due later this fall, and local agencies are encouraged to work through their county transportation authorities to apply. And I will also note that at the last round of committee meetings, the Programming and Allocations Committee allocated the Transportation Development Act funds, which is usually over 30% of NVTA's budget. So we moved that forward. And at the San Francisco Bay Restoration Authority, they're updating their project application process. And one of their funding goals is Bay Trail elements that feature an ecological component. And so that's also a pot of money that this group can go after as long as the Bay Trail components they're working on also have an ecological benefit. And so that'd be a great thing to partner with the Resource Conservation District on. They have some projects like that underway already. And that's what I got.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the board or the public? All right, let's go to Association of Bay Area Governments, ABAG update.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. There was a new election for leadership for ABAG for 2026, 2028, the term. The new president now is Susan Adams. She is a council member from Roanoke Park. The vice president ended up in a tie the evening of the first vote, so there was a special meeting on May 27th. The tie was between Ken Carlson and then Wanda Williams. On the 27th, it was determined that Wanda Williams would be the vice president, so congratulations to her. Susan Adams was succeeding Belia Ramos, and Belia got a lot of applause from everybody on the board and affiliates around, saying how great of a job she did, and I could concur with that same result. I'm just losing my car share person now to ride to San Francisco. I got to ride by myself now. So, but I believe she's still going to be part of ABAG. Nothing else to report.
Okay, great. And Wanda Williams being the vice president is good because she's Solano and that's close enough to Napa. So good outcomes. Executive Director's report.
Yes. Good afternoon, Executive Director Schmitz. You'll notice some artwork around the boardroom. I would just like to give kudos to both Kathy and Emily for their beautification efforts. We are also going to put some artwork in the lobby, including our regional network transit map, which is a very nicely done map by MTC, and our runner-up for our bus art contest. We will be displaying their artwork in the lobby as well. NVTA was notified by the Caltrans Sustainable Communities Grant that we are going to receive $250,000 for our South Napa County Station Area Plan. So that's very exciting. It was our, I think, third time going after that funding source. The Station Area Plan aims to establish and enhance multimodal transportation connections to a potential future passenger rail station in South Napa County. Working with a consultant team, NVTA will conduct stakeholder outreach and deliver actionable recommendations at a high level for funding strategy to guide future station area development. The County of Napa has agreed to partner with us on that project, and they'll be providing the local match. Vine Transit provided late night and extended service for Bottle Rock, and the numbers came in looking very well. The Vine provided over 8,300 trips during the 3-day festival, which was a 36% increase compared to last year's festival. Again, I would like to thank Emily and the transit team on the major marketing efforts that I think were responsible for this, as well as transit did decide to run Route 21, which is the route that connects to Sassoon and Amtrak and Fairfield over there. And I believe that was a huge contributor to a lot of the additional ridership that we received. Rebecca and her staff were out in the field all 3 days, covering and helping direct festival goers to their individual bus routes. So thank you. NVTA is moving several capital projects along, and so we have some upcoming public outreach meetings, including tonight in the city of Napa at Crosswalk Community Church for the State Route 29 Comprehensive Multimodal Corridor Plan workshop. It's at 5:30 p.m. And then next week on June 24th, we will be having a airport intersection public open house down at the Hampton Inn and Suites in South Napa County at 5:30 p.m. to talk about the different alternatives for the State Route 29 Jameson Canyon Airport intersection. And I'm happy to report that the City of American Canyon is the first jurisdiction to adopt their section of the countywide active transportation plan into their general plan just last night, hot off the press. So thank you, Patrick, for all your work, and he'll be working with other jurisdictions to adopt your sections of the active transportation network into your general plans. And then lastly, longtime executive director, so my counterpart in Solano, Daryl Halls, the Solano Transportation Authority executive director, who's been there for over 25 years, is retiring at the end of this month. And he has been a great partner to NVTA, from collaboration on the Jameson Canyon widening to our Route 21 that goes to Suisun, to the Solano Napa commuter information and State Route 37. So I just wanted to take this moment to acknowledge his contributions to the North Bay transportation and wish him well from this board in his retirement. So that concludes my report.
Good. Thank you very much. Comments? Any comments?
Don't get any ideas.
No, it's just, I mean, Solano Transportation Authority is like one of our partner agencies that's been around for a long time, and we've collaborated with Daryl since, I mean, the beginning. So we just needed to acknowledge that. And yeah.
He's a good guy. Director Eisenberg.
Yes, as a loyal transit user for during Bottle Rock from Calistoga to Bottle Rock, I just want to express my appreciation to Rebecca and her team. They were out there working very hard, especially as people were trying to get home. It's not perfect, but it's really good. Thank you.
Yes.
And if you'd express that to Rebecca, that my appreciation.
Yeah, she's right here, but
Oh.
we will.
Where's she?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
Okay.
We also think it's always
After
good
the
to hear.
meeting, I'll give you my full update.
It's always good to hear the firsthand accounts. Actually, Public Works Director Jessica Lowe took the Route 21 from Bottle Rock to and from Bottle Rock, and she was giving me play-by-play updates of what things were working really well. So appreciate the feedback.
Excellent. And I also want to do a shout out to Director Eisenberg he was part of that Vine Trail bike ride marathon. You exceeded your estimated miles.
I exceeded my estimated miles by 3 miles because I was out there getting just the estimated miles and I realized I wasn't home yet. So I had to add another few miles.
All right. Well, again, it's always good to say you exceeded it, even if 3 miles might be argued as paltry, but it's a good thing. I'm glad I could have helped you. So good for you, Doug. All right, now we don't have any presentations. So we're going to move straight into consent. Oh, wait a minute. Do we have a Caltrans report?
No, there's a Caltrans in your packet, the map, but we don't have a report today.
Okay. I apologize for skipping over it, but I do remember talking in the agenda review that we weren't going to have one. So I appear flaky, but I'm not completely flaky. All right, well, we're back to consent. Who would like to approve the consent calendar? Or make a motion to that effect? All right, Manfree and Narvaez. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, so now we run to regular agendas. Ooh, election of the chair and vice chair for fiscal year 26-27. Well, I guess I get to make the report. We had a nominating committee consisting of myself, Vice Chair Doring, and prior Chair Alessio. We discussed it. We felt that the next jurisdiction in line should be Napa County. And given the fact that Director Alessio had already served, oh, okay, I jumped ahead. First, we decided that Chair Doring or Vice Chair Doring should be nominated to be the chair. And then the question was, who should the vice chair be? And that gets you back into, we thought Napa County should be next in line. And we reached out to Director Manfree, who is willing to serve as vice chair. So number one, the nominating committee is recommending that we elect Director Doring to be chair and Director Manfree to be vice chair. And then we also got into some policy direction and raised the issue of sometimes it doesn't make sense to select our officers at the beginning of the fiscal year, that it might make more sense the beginning of the calendar year, because there's going to be an election in the fall and we all like to think incumbents can get reelected, especially if you are one, but that doesn't always happen. So we're also recommending that we give direction to staff to come back with an amendment to the bylaws that talk about making the term of office in either January or February. That way the board will know exactly who's going to be around at least for the next 2 years. So that is the nominating committee's report. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them or at least comment on them.
If I may add a comment, the vice chair and the chair roles are 2-year commitments each. So it's really a 4-year commitment ideally
Yeah.
when you become vice chair. And that's why looking at the elections in terms of like who's going to run again, and that whole election aspect kind of came into play in this discussion. So I think it's a great policy discussion to have. And then when I was vice chair, the county had a representative as the chair, so it just worked in the natural rotation. So the next rotation would be the city of Napa. So I just want to put that
Yeah.
out there too.
Exactly.
That's all I want to add.
Right.
And I know Director Manfrey will do a great job being representative on MTC. I think it's going to be really beneficial for your role there on MTC and your role here too. So I think it's a good match. I appreciate you being willing to do this.
Thank you. And I'll say I look forward to being an understudy with Mr. Doring. I think I'll learn a lot. So very good.
And I will second all of that. Director Doring doesn't get as much credit for all of the insights that he offers, usually during the board review. And in point of fact, it was his suggestion about, when should this cycle start? So I do think that you will probably get some great leadership for the next 2 years. And I am happy to then entertain a motion to first, I guess we could do both. You could approve the nominating committee's recommendations for chair and vice chair.
I move to approve the nominating committee's recommendations.
Also,
All right. All those in favor say aye.
discussion.
Yep, discussion.
Just kidding.
No. that's-
I did everything I could to finagle my way out of this position. And,
Yeah.
and I was outvoted, so I
Yeah.
appreciate the confidence in the subcommittee. Thank you.
Yes, we know how to railroad, Paul. All right, those were in favor. Any opposed? And yes, I should have provided some public comment. So, but we're going to say that you only did the nominating. The second half is the amendment to the bylaws. And in that regard, I would entertain any public comment on either or both because I forgot the first one. And nobody cares about bureaucratic details.
Chair,
Oh.
staff's
Oh.
able to receive your direction for recommending the bylaw amendment. We will bring that for final approval at the next
Okay.
board meeting.
Perfect.
Thank
Right,
you.
it'll be an agendized item for.
Yes,
next time.
okay. And so with that, if I understand it correctly, I get to finish out the meeting and that's exciting. But I'm going to take a few moments to say that I appreciate the opportunity. I probably want to apologize for those meetings that just went kind of squirrely and everybody had to put up with it. That's just what you got to do. But I do want to acknowledge a few incredible accomplishments. I don't necessarily take credit for any of them, but they happened on my watch and I'm entitled to brag. First and foremost, we selected a new executive director. We also finished and that is actually a bigger deal than anything than I said, because the quality of your executive director is about 80% of the effectiveness of the organization. A good director and you do great things, a not so good director and you just kind of fuddle through. So I'm glad that we were able to select an excellent executive director, that we finished Soskel and Vine Trail, that we started or actually continued the American Canyon 29 corridor project and initiated the 2912 interchange project. We are moving forward on a strategic plan. We looked over the JPA and decided not to change any of it. We even did an RFP to hire a new legal service, which tends to be the same person, but still. And I would like to think that we have a more cohesive board today than a few years ago. And again, I don't take credit for any of it. It just happened on my watch, and that's that. So I want to thank everybody for putting up with me, and I hope I can continue to do a good job sitting on the sidelines for the next few months. And with that, yeah. With that, thank you. With that, we'll move to 10.2, the Transportation Development Act, Article 3 Resolution and Countywide Claim, which Patrick will handle.
Thank you, Chair, members of the board. Item 10.2, the TDA-3 resolution and countywide claim authorization. I will try to be brief on this one. TDA-3, the TDA-3 program provides grants to local jurisdictions for bicycle and pedestrian projects and improvements. It is funded through approximately 2% of the 0.25% statewide sales tax measure and generates roughly $200,000 a year for projects in Napa County. We do a call for projects on a regular basis to solicit applications and evaluate funding opportunities. We did a call in April of 2026 and received 3 applications, one from the city of Calistoga for the Oak Street Bridge project, one from the town of Yountville for improvements on California between 29 and under 29 near the vet's home, and a third application from NVTA for a sidewalk project on Burnell just outside the doors here. NVTA staff evaluated those projects. They went through both our Active Transportation Advisory Committee, which, although they did not have a quorum at their meeting where they evaluated these projects, did express their unanimous support of those members in attendance to go forward with the staff recommendation. That recommendation is also brought forward to the TAC, which also supported that recommendation. The staff recommendation is to fund the Calistoga Oak Street Bridge project with $150,000 for this next fiscal year, and the NVTA Burnell Street sidewalk project for $100,000. I'm happy to go into additional detail on individual applications or the application process and next steps, but I will stop my presentation there.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, the Yountville request, I think that is going to be considered for the next
That is
cycle?
correct, yes. So as I mentioned, we have about $200,000 or $250,000 annually that comes in through the sales tax stream. We have about $250,000 available for this next fiscal year and $200,000 for the subsequent fiscal year. In order to be able to fully fund as many projects as possible and not just kind of partially, piecemeal out dollars, we worked with all 3 applicants and evaluated their applications. Also looked at how far progressed those applications were and were they able to deliver the projects or just kind of start moving forward. So yes, the plan is to, when we do our next call for projects next year, to prioritize the Yountville applications.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board? Director Eisenberg.
I just want to compliment the group on the choices. Upon completion of the Oak Street Bridge project, it will be quite a boon for active transportation. We will have, it's a critical juncture for children going to and from school who walk or bike. It will eliminate their being required to go through a lot of very high traffic areas. So thank you very much.
I think Director.
I just would want some clarification on the on next year's funding. At least $200,000 available. Is that all already programmed for Yountville, or will there be invitations for others?
That is not. There will be a call for projects. It will be competitive. We've identified that our staff's recommendation is to prioritize the Yountville application, assuming that they submit at that next call for projects. The 200,000 is also an estimate based on projections for sales tax revenues in the next year. We will have to wait and see. Generally, we get a couple of updates from MTC on those revenues annually, and so we'll update those numbers should they shift in a substantial way.
Any sort of big picture comment in terms of the maybe missteps or applications are not quite right. Are there general comments you can make about that without getting into the detail about these applications for the good of all of the agencies?
Sure, yeah.
Please.
So NVTA has, in the last 2 application cycles, established a priority or preference for what we call quick build projects, efforts to make kind of medium-term, expedited improvements to improve bicycle pedestrian safety. I know the city of St. Helena was successful in application a year or 2 ago. That is certainly our intent moving forward. We're also, every time we do this call for projects, identifying other opportunities to improve the application process, make it a bit easier for jurisdictions to apply, fix little things that may better communicate what NVTA's priorities are, obviously in alignment with the program guidance that we receive through MTC.
All right, thank you.
And Director Sedgley.
Well, thank you, Patrick. And a lot of my questions were answered through Director Doring's question on why agencies wouldn't apply for next year's funding for the 27-28, right? Did we miss the boat? But answered that, I understand that. And like Calistoga, I'm also happy to see Burnell looked at. I mean, it's the front door to the transit center, and it's in pretty bad shape for a lot of reasons. Safety is the biggest one, so glad to see that on the list. Thank you.
Any other comments from the board? Any comments from the public? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to.
I'll move approval.
Doring,
I'll second.
Alessio. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Chair,
Yes.
May, I think that we have somebody here that would like to provide public comment that arrived around 1:30. I'm not sure. But if that, no, okay. I thought maybe you were here for, I was gonna ask if we can reopen public comment for this
Right,
person. But
yeah.
if that's not the case, great, then
I-
we don't need to. Okay,
And you're perfectly entitled to stand, but if you'd like to grab a chair, you're welcome to sit as well. So, okay, thank you. Then let's go to number 10.3, an agreement, number 26C08 with Sloan Sakai Young and Wong LLP for general counsel and professional legal advisory services. Take it away, Antonio.
So good afternoon, Chair and members of the board. My name is Antonio Honorado, and I am the Director of Finance and Administration for NVTA. So Director Joseph alluded to this a little bit earlier today, but for this item, staff is asking the board to authorize the Executive Director to execute a 5-year agreement with Sloan Sakai, Yuang and Wong LLP for general counsel and professional legal advisory services in an amount not to exceed $356,850 over the 5-year period. For a little bit of background, NVTA has utilized Sloan Sakai as its legal counsel since 2018, and the current agreement expires in July 2026, next month. In anticipation of that expiration, staff conducted a competitive procurement process to ensure we evaluated the marketplace and selected the firms best qualified to meet NVTA's legal needs. A request for proposals was released in May 2026, and four firms submitted proposals: Alishire and Winder, Hanson Bridget, White Brenner, and of course our incumbent Sloan Sakai. The proposals were evaluated by a selection committee consisting of the 2 board members, the chair and the vice chair, the executive director, and myself. The evaluation criteria included the firm's understanding of the work, experience representing public agencies, qualifications of the proposed team, and of course, cost value to the agency. So following a thorough review, Sloan Sakai received the highest overall score from every evaluator and was ranked first among all the firms. Based on the strength and the consistency of the scoring, the committee unanimously concluded that interviews were not necessary and recommended to this board that the board award a contract to Sloan Sakai. In addition to being the highest ranked proposer, Sloan Sakai has extensive experience representing public agencies and has provided reliable legal counsel to NVTA over the past several years. Their proposed rates are consistent with current services, and the contract structure allows NVTA to only pay for services actually rendered. So the contract is a not to exceed amount, but the payment will be based on actual services rendered to the agency. In conclusion, staff recommends that the board authorize the execution of the agreement with Salon Sakai for general counsel and professional legal advisory services. And that concludes my report. I can answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Anyone on the board have any questions? I will echo staff's report, having had the opportunity to review all four RFPs, and Sloan Sakai was the best when you consider everything. So any other comments? Any directors, Sedgley, or
Oh, just, we're currently with
Right.
Sloan Sakai. That's
Right.
All along, you've been with Sloan Sakai. Yeah. Is it Daniel Sakai? What is his first name?
Charles Sakai.
Charles Sakai.
Yeah.
When I was in the firefighters union, I negotiated against him, right? Our representative and Charles Sakai. If you can extend my compliments to him, he is very good. He was very good. He was a lot better than us. Trying to get a contracts approved, but a very high quality firm. So
and
great.
to
Thanks.
reinforce that,
I will.
Director Sedgley, I think American Canyon used Charles Sakai, not necessarily for labor negotiations, but he was on our side. So I'm sure under the circumstances, we did well with whatever we were dealing with. So it's at any rate.
I'll let Charles know.
Right. Are there any comments that are probably more germane to the topic? Director Alessio.
Oh, yeah, I was just gonna say, thank you so much, Oz, for your good work. You transitioned with us. There's a previous legal representative. It wasn't quite a good fit, to be honest with you, but when you came on, it's been a great fit. We really appreciate your service. I'm really glad that this all worked out and that we get to keep Sloan Sakai. So yeah, have my vote, my endorsement on this, and a motion if needed and ready.
Director, Vice Chair Dorn.
Well, I would echo the comments made by my colleagues. I think that you have to sort of take a look at what the general services are. It's a general counsel. So I think that the services to be provided and that have been provided align well with our needs at a cost that is just not even comparable, really. Some of the firms that we're looking at, the costs were just immense. And these are outstanding firms, there's no question about it. But I think when you look at a general services firm, you have to look at it, what are the day-to-day needs? And there are going to be times when we're going to have to go outside of those general needs and go into more specialized needs. But I think at the cost and the services that your firm has provided us, I strongly recommend that we continue with the status quo.
Excellent. Any public comment before we take an action? All right, then I'll entertain a motion. We kind of heard one, so we'll just take
I'll move
Director
that
Alessio.
forward.
Alessio makes the motion. I think I heard something as a second, but okay. Alessio and Manfree. All those in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Perfect. We're now at future agenda items. Would any board member want to bring anything up other than we're going to talk about amendments to the bylaws? All right, if nothing else, that means we're moving into closed session, and we have two items. And Oz, if there's anything you need to announce before we move.
I just want to make sure there's no public comment. The board's now entering into closed session on the two items as agendized: public employee performance evaluation